Hello, it is Wednesday, October 26th, 2022. I'm Chris Remo, and welcome back to the New York Times Crossword Daily Solved. It is a Wednesday puzzle today, which means that it might be just a little bit of a step up in difficulty from Monday and Tuesday. And how much of a step up that is, we'll have to see, because this is another day on which I have a bit of a time constraint. So we'll see if I have time to get to the clues from yesterday's puzzle. That will depend on the escalation of difficulty in today's Wednesday puzzle, perhaps. So this ambiguously difficult Wednesday puzzle has been brought to us by Jenny Montague, Lewis Williams, and, as always, the inestimable Hood Monster, the invaluable Timothy Mark, and the indomitable Shoalmaster. So thank you so much to the five of them, benefactors of the Daily Solve Patreon campaign, for their generous support in sustaining this channel and this series. I do very much appreciate it. And if you'd like to become a benefactor, to join that crew and get the Daily Solve Let's Check the Crosses mug, you can find that at patreon.com/dailysolve. There's a link in the description field underneath the video. And of course, if you follow that link, you can also become a Patreon at any level, for which you will receive all of the bonus videos that have been posted to the channel to date, as well as the new ones that go up each week. And thank you to everybody who has backed the Patreon campaign at any level. I do very much appreciate that. So there's that link in the description field underneath the video. You can also use the description field to find a link to the Daily Solve Discord chat server. And also don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel and to like the videos and tell a friend if you think you know somebody who might enjoy this series. All right, so with that, we're on to today's puzzle. This is a Wednesday crossword. It will be themed, of course, and it was constructed by Simeon Siegel, who's constructed a handful of puzzles for the New York Times, a small handful, and it was edited, as always, by Will Shorts. So let's start solving, and we'll see what we have in store for ourselves today. So, autonomous household helpers since 2002. This must refer 2002, so this would be pre-smartphone. So, a Roomba? Is that how that's spelled? The little robots, the little vacuum cleaner robots. Okay, an incline could be a ramp, maybe. And Somali-born congresswoman from Minnesota, Ilhan Omar, I would think. Grand Ole Opry. So this is a sort of country music venue, and I think there was maybe a television program as well. I want to say in Nashville, but I'm not actually certain about that. Okay, blank day, January observance. Is it MLK, Martin Luther King Day, January observance? Several very U.S.-specific clues so far. Slangy request at a kegger. So you could beer me, you might say, to request a beer at a kegger, a party with beer and kegs. Playwright Miller would be Arthur Miller, the great playwright. And let's just check the crosses now. So we've filled in some words. More bountiful, ampler, right? So, okay, there could be ample beer at the kegger. That was a weird sentence. Market. Oh, here, look at this. We have Patsy. Ah, right. So we're sort of this is almost a sort of rebus thing here. We're creating a phrase. So Patsy is a mark, a sort of person who's been taken in by a con. French to be is être, E-T-R-E, the French verb for to be, plus singe, sear, as in a piece of meat, plus pop queen would be share, and that makes a sales wonk is a market researcher. So there we go. Look at that. We've created, and I suppose you could solve this just by sales wonk, but obviously I think most people, when they read this, they're going to read it in the order in which the words are presented, so you'll probably try and figure this out. Market researcher, there we go. Very good. And then what about, right, I see. This is our revealer. So what you're on when you're crawling, or a hint to parsing 18, 27, 46, and 61 across. Well, you're on all fours when you're crawling, and there were 4 words here, weren't they? So, I see. So all 4 of these are 4, I guess the fact that there are 4 of them is not the 4 this is being referred to, but it's a nice additional resonance. So all of these highlighted clues are constructed from quartets, from 4s of internal clues, I think is what this means. Okay, what about this one? Boat pole plus old once, that'll be erst wanted as in erstwhile, plus pace plus essence equals chief planner. What is a boat pole? My first thought was that it would mean a sort of gondola pole, but maybe it means a pole like a mast that on which the sails, from which the sails hang. So master strategist, old once plus pace. Yeah, rate of change, pace of change, plus the essence of an argument is the gist of an argument. There we go. So chief planner is a master strategist, and that's our boat pole plus old once plus pace plus essence. Very good. What else? Can we do any more of these? Fiber source plus automake plus red planet plus, oh, are they all of them are also each is 4 letters long, right? Okay, so maybe the 4s does also refer to the number of clues because we have 4 clues, each of which individually consists of 4 internal clues, and each one of those consists of 4 letters, I think. So it's a sort of fractal-like theme. That's very good. Okay, anyway. So fiber source plus automake plus red planet plus boxing family. The boxing family will be Ali's, right? And Marsalis is a jazz saxophonist. Oh, sorry. Okay, so Wynton Marsalis. Who else? There's the whole family. Automake. Fiber source. Is Bran a source of fiber? Because Branford Marsalis, is that Wynton Marsalis's father? It's definitely Branford Marsalis is someone. So here we have Bran, which is a source of fiber. That sounds right. And then Ford is an automake. So I think that's probably correct. Interpret plus Hockey's Kovalchuk, plus Colorado Ski Town plus fit equals on hand. Well, the Colorado Ski Town, I think, is going to be Vale. Is that right? I think that's right. Oops, not Valve. Vale. And on hand, no, plus fit. Oh, I was going to say available, but that's not. Oh, maybe it is available. Right, it's Vale spelled like this. And then if you're fit to do a job, you're able. So that's Colorado Ski Town plus fit is available. And then Hockey's Kovalchuk, I'm not sure about that, but it'll end with an A. And then interpret is read readily available. Ilya Kovalchuk, that looks right because that looks like a sort of Slavic name. Okay, so there we go. Great. I think we've solved those. Very good. Sorry, now after that digression, let's march through the rest of the puzzle. River at Arles. Is it the Rhone or the Rhine? It'll be the Rhone. Right? Because we're in France here. Okay. One of the friends on Friends, Ross. Okay, so I may not know much about Friends, but I certainly have heard of Ross from Friends. To give a few laughs is to the television program, in case that wasn't clear, I'm sure it was. Give a few laughs is to amuse somebody. Interwebs is a way that in the sort of early 2000s, people loved to refer to the internet, so the net would be another sort of slangy way to refer to it. Gas pump attachment is a hose, of course. Quaff of Gruit and wort in days of yore. Is it ale? Wort is certainly still something that you sort of associated with brewing. I don't know what gruit is. Let's check this and make sure it's right. I feel your pain. That looked painful. That hurt or something. I'm not exactly sure. Inspiration for an often repeated golf story. Oh, a hole-in-one? All right, I suppose if you managed a hole-in-one in a game of golf, it would become an oft-repeated story, essentially guaranteed. So drink for 2 in song, tea for 2. There we go. And entitled Brit. Well, it could be Sir. You could be given that title and be made a knight. So entitled, I think that's what. And the question mark there is indicating a bit of punnery or wordplay. So obviously, if you would ordinarily read this, you would say, oh, well, entitled means privileged in a broader sense. But here we're reading it in a punny way and referring specifically to being ennobled or entitled. I suppose it's different than ennobling, which would be made a lord. But anyway, you get the point. Open in a way, maybe being knighted is still being considered ennobled. Anyway, open in a way is what? Silver salmon, coho salmon. I mean, that's a name that I know. I wouldn't have known it was silver salmon specifically, but it fits the cross as coho. Bend it like Beckham. The knee, I suppose, because David Beckham is a football soccer player, and would bend the knee to kick. Nikola Tesla, ethnically, is a Serb. That's funny. That's come up just a month or two ago in the crossword. What a funny thing. Okay, I feel your pain. Oh, that sucks, you might say. Okay, there we go. And then open in a way is... Oh, to unclog. I was thinking open as an adjective, but it's open as a verb, to unclog a pipe or something. Leopold's partner in 1920s crime, Leopold and Loeb, that was the famous sort of sensational media story of the 1920s, the murder by Leopold and Loeb. Big media trial circus at the time. 1952 Winter Olympics host. Was it Oslo, would be my guess, was Winter Olympics. Would fit the crosses and make sense as a winter host. Pearl Harbor National Memorial Locale would be the island of Oahu in the present state of Hawaii. And to begin to wake is to stir. Presidents Harrison, Hoover, Clinton, and Obama by birth. This is probably a star sign thing, so Leos would be my guess. They're probably all Leos. River past Cincinnati would be the Ohio River. And, young inhabitant of the 100-acre wood, roo, the young kangaroo, I think. I'm pretty sure, because that's what a roo is. And there was such a character in Winnie the Pooh, so there we go. Radio toggle is AM, FM. And for the two bands, the two frequency bands, Lake Bird is a loon. There we go. Blank Griner, the so-called queen of QVC. I'm not sure. There are a couple of different women's names that could fit here. Laura or Lara or Lori or... yeah, I'm not sure. Like some practice courts. And company making arrangements. Oh, FTD florists. FTD is a flower arranging company, a florist, sort of large national chain in the U.S., and so they make flower arrangements. That's what's going on here. I don't remember what FTD stands for. Like some practice courts are what? Mock? But that doesn't fit FTD. I'm pretty sure that's right. Moot? Someone had an interesting comment about the usage of the word, modern usage of the word moot. And it does derive from, the phrase moot does derive from a sort of, I'm not educated enough on this, but it does derive from some sort of, I guess, kind of early modern legislative assembly that's less formal than what we would think of as a legislative assembly now, but still a kind of advisory group. Anyway, if that were moot, this could be Lori Griner. If this were O, I would expect it to be Lori. So all prefix is omni, so that I looks right. And a gourd is your noodle, your head. Early foe for 007. Dr. No. That was the first James Bond film, right? And 1/8 of a fluid ounce. Is that a dram? Is it a sort of dram of whiskey? Is that what that is? I think that's probably right. That sounds about right. Okay, certain tow job. A repo, a repossession of a vehicle could be towed against its owner's will, I suppose. Takes some downtime is naps. Takes a nap. Regards... not sure. Right on the dial of a grandfather clock. 3, maybe? Sort of the rightmost number in Roman numerals on a clock face. I think that's probably what that is. Au revoir, blank enfant. So, good night, children, les enfants, I suspect that is. Les being the plural definite article in French. Big fashion initials could be YSL, Yves Saint Laurent, the famed fashion, the designer and a mark and sort of brand, I suppose. Oh, I see. In regards to this, it applies to that regards this topic. That applies to this topic, I think, is how we would equivocate that here. Okay. How we would make them equivalent is what I should say. Wretched hive of scum and villainy per Obi-Wan Kenobi. Right, so this is from the film Star Wars, the Mos Eisley Cantina, as the Alec Guinness character describes the Mos Eisley bar. Okay. Blank the Great, Sleuth of Kidlit. Oh, here's one I remember. There was some kind of children's literature thing the other day that I just could not remember for the life of me, but this one I do. Nate the Great was a character, is, I guess, a character of children's literature. At least one that I remember encountering. With 58 across SEAL missions. Naval something? It's a two-part clue. Anyway, James, who plays Professor X in film. James McAvoy. Must be the answer there. I saw James McAvoy in a stage production of Cyrano de Bergerac with sort of slam poetry. Everything was delivered through slam poetry. It was actually really good. He was very good. Cloudless is a clear, as in a clear sky. Thomas Alva Edison, the inventor. And shows for later audiences are... What is that? I'm not sure, actually. This does look like naval, doesn't it? SEAL missions. SEAL is the sort of Navy Special Forces group. What does that stand for? I don't know. I can't. It's one of those things. I don't know if I don't know it or if I just can't remember it. That often happens in the crossword. Because sometimes I'll see an explanation of something and think, oh, I did know that. I just couldn't remember it. But sometimes I'll see the explanation and think, oh, you know what? I don't think I knew that. And sometimes I'm not sure until I actually see the answer. Shows for later audiences. So, re-airs. I see. Yes, so not the original airing, but a re-airing of a particular episode. Unhealthy looking. You could have a sallow complexion, unhealthy looking. Arrived on horseback. You rode to the place. Blank compliant. What public facilities must be in brief. ADA compliant. The American Disability Act, I think, is what this stands for. So public facilities must be accessible to people with disabilities. And then gently rocked is swayed, maybe. To comply is to obey, straightforward enough. It may mean squat to a dancer. Not sure about that one. What about this? Thrill. Maybe rode to is rode up, arrived on horseback, rode up. That actually is better. Rode to is inaccurate, because if you said rode to the saloon, you need a the there, whereas arrived on horseback, the saloon, doesn't work. So yeah, it's always worth remembering when it's phrases like this, try and replace the clue with the answer and see if it still works. Where if you said he arrived on horseback at the saloon, he rode up at the saloon, arrived on horseback to the saloon, rode up to the saloon. So sometimes you have to be careful about how you phrase it, but it still should be possible to replace it in a valid context, if you see what I mean. Okay, it may mean squat to a dancer. Okay, maybe it's not rode up. Maybe it's rode in, which I'd replace it yet again, but my point remains the same. Rode in still works. Rode into town, arrived on horseback to town. Okay, it sounds awkward, but it's grammatically, it works. It may mean squat to a dancer, plie. That is the third time this has come up in just the past couple of weeks. That's funny. That ballet term. And then, naval ops for operations, the SEAL missions. Okay, and then here we have to thrill, that sent me, that thrilled me, as people have been saying recently, it seems. Push on. I don't know if that's one of those things that's current or it is current, but I don't know if it's one of those things that's a sort of revival of a frequently used phrase or if it's actually sort of a new phrase. I'm actually not sure which. In any case, push on, to impel, to sort of a pushing force, to impel something. Ditto, so do I. Fusses, not sure. Sound emitted by methane emitters. So cows are famous emitters of methane, so they moo. Flat or inflate? Maybe so do I is so am I? Does that help? Flat. Oh, pad, as in an apartment. A flat, an apartment, right. So, or inflate, to pad something, to inflate the numbers, for instance. There we go. Okay, sticky note maybe could be a memo. And then what was this? Fusses out to do. So it was a whole fuss. It was a whole to do. And then tag, key, or chip. Say you could mar, I don't know, a wall. You could tag it or key it or chip it. Various forms of damaging it, marring it. All right, let's finish off the puzzle. Bank drive-through convenience could be an ATM, an automated teller machine, a cash point. And study at the 11th hour, say, could be to cram for an exam, to frantically revise the night before. Uninspiring or low-paying work. A mick job, right, this sort of pejorative term referring to minimum wage jobs such as McDonald's. I don't actually know if McDonald's still pays minimum wage, so it could be. I don't mean to misrepresent it if so, but that's the sort of stereotype. Crier in movies is, I don't know. Why can't I see that? Part of a stable diet. Oat, maybe stable, as in a stable of horses, could be fed oats. And erupting with noise is a roar. Roaring with, I don't know, laughter, for instance. One getting credit for seasonal gifts would be Santa has given credit for all those gifts that show up. And why shouldn't he be given credit? He's the one who delivers them after all. Crier in movie. Oh, John Cryer. Is that an actor? That's sort of vaguely familiar, but I'm not exactly sure. There we go. And that was the Wednesday puzzle. So we had our very nice all fours theme. It was fun sort of trying to work through those ahead of time. I guess kind of half using the rebus bit and half using the regular clue given at the end. So we had our sales wonk, market researcher. We had our chief planner, our master strategist, our noted jazz saxophonist, Branford Marsalis, and something being on hand, being readily available. And I won't read all of the individual parts of those again, but those are very clever all fours, our all four clues, each of which made up of 4 words itself, each word itself made up of 4 letters. So a very nice, internally consistent theme that must have taken some time to find these 16-letter phrases divided up in that precise way. Very good. Enjoyed that. A nice crossword by Simeon Siegel. So now let's discuss a few clues from yesterday's puzzle. I'm going to decide to take the time to do that, and maybe I'll just do a few to try and get back some time. So let's see. Nicole Hicks clarifies that a pop tab is indeed that sort of 8-shaped attachment to the pop to a can of soda, beer, or even soup and vegetables, etc., which one lifts to break the seal with no manual or handheld opener required. I've seen some great faux chainmail made from them. That's very good. So yeah, I guess I just don't see the word pop tab used very often, but that's of course what that is, and that's what I thought it was, I guess. But because I don't know what else it would have been, but just wasn't sort of very aware of it. Okay, so here's a funny detail about Sonicare toothbrushes. Whether an electric toothbrush is called just this is from Sphinx 32. Whether an electric toothbrush is called electric, sonic, or supersonic depends on how fast the brush head oscillates. A sonic toothbrush oscillates between 30,000 and 90,000 times per minute, whereas a supersonic toothbrush oscillates about 96 million times per minute and is completely silent, apparently. Wow, would not have known that, and I don't know that I've ever encountered a supersonic toothbrush. Is that a real thing, or I wonder if that's real or just sort of a theoretical construction. I guess I'll have to look it up. I guess it must be real. That's interesting. I wonder how expensive those are. And then the point to which I alluded that John Mayhew made about the word moot. It's a great pity that moot point is now widely understood to mean a minor issue not worth discussing. Historically, and until recently, it meant any issue that remained doubtful or unsettled. open to debate and often quite weighty. Oh, and here's the thing I was thinking of. In Saxon times, a moot was an assembly of free men to determine matters of local law and government held in a moot hall. The word meet is closely related. And Syrinx32 replies to say, I'm not a native speaker, but I've only ever encountered the word in the sense you say as a recent development. The most common situation being along the lines of, this might have been an interesting discussion, but the decision is already made, so it's a moot point. And yes, I would agree that does seem like the prevalent usage of moot, not so much indicating that it's a minor issue or not worth discussing, but rather it might have been very much worth discussing, but has already been settled. Still, as John Mayhew points out, that is not the historical meaning of the word. And in fact, in some dictionaries, such as the Chambers Dictionary, the sort of most current meaning is actually not even particularly listed, I don't think. I was looking it up the other day. And that happens. Words change over time. The word obnoxious is extremely different to what it meant about 100 years ago, for instance. And no one, if you used it in a way that is not what we currently understand it to mean, which is sort of annoying and loud and boorish, people would be very confused. So word meanings do change over time, and such is language. But I am sympathetic to people who lament those changes, because it's fair enough. You get attached to a particular meaning, and it has a particular meaning, and there is often value in that being preserved, because it maintains a kind of particular specific sense that if one word loses it, might not be picked up by another word. Sometimes that does happen, sometimes it doesn't. Anyway, it is just part of language, though, so we do all have to become accepting of it, I think. Anyway, that's that for today's crossword. I'll be back tomorrow for the Thursday crossword, which will have some kind of wacky or intricate theme, maybe even more so than today's. We'll have to see. Join me for that. Until then, I hope you have an excellent remainder of your Wednesday. Take care.